Okay, I'm going. Okay.
She's under pressure.
Okay.
She's under pressure.
Nicely erect. Are you filming?
Yeah. Jessica wants me erect. There's a surprise.
Well, I'd rather be erect than flaccid. Would you rather be flaccid?
Where did that come from?
Tell you what, we're really rattling through this series, aren't we? Because we're already on episode 6 of the 3rd series of Running Loose. And my name is Francesca Kamani.
And I'm Vanessa Ryle. And we're actually still at Culworth Grounds, which is where we were for episode 5, Sophie Buckley and Charles Buckley's Culworth Grounds. And actually, it's a hive of activity out there. We're filming in the morning. And it did make us think that we've had a lot of feedback from the mucker-outers. The mucker-outers out there. The people mucking out their horses on yards up and down the country. Apparently there's a lot of people who seem to get our podcast first thing on a Monday morning, and then they obviously put their headphones in, start mucking out, shoveling shit, laughing at us. I love that.
I love that too.
If it makes mucking out a stable go marginally quicker, then that's a big positive.
Are you a big mucker-outer?
Well, no, because my horse is on full livery and I pay a fucking fortune. So no, I don't muck out that much. Although this week I actually am mucking out loads because I'm looking after that other horse, the Captain Matan. It's complicated. He doesn't live at the same yard my main horse lives at, and he's at like a DIY yard. Do it yourself.
Thanks for explaining what DIY is. Thanks. Thanks. So occasionally you actually have to go and muck him out. So
I do have
like
to go muck him out.
Shared custody deal with a friend of yours.
Yes, he is shared custody. I'm actually taking him autumn hunting for the first time tomorrow. So when we next record a pod, I'll have an update on that.
First time?
Yeah, taking an ex-racehorse like out with hounds and other horses is quite it could go one of either way. I think it could.
I took mine out the other day.
How did that go?
Well, I took him last year, a little bit of autumn hunting and then hunting, and he was pretty good, but the first time I took him he was really like wouldn't stand still, really fidgety, and when you're like stood on a bank and you're like, oh god, is he gonna like turn over backwards or something? And there's a lot of standing around with autumn hunting. And so fidgety ex-racehorse often can be not good. Much better this time, but getting to the meet. So we met at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, we're on 6:30 start down here.
Well, 6 o'clock in the morning. And it was a little bit of a ride away from my place. So firstly, getting him like ready in the dark was quite fun because I don't have any kind of proper stable setup, no lights, no nothing. So doing it all in the dark. And then I got on, and I had to
he's clearly thinking like, what the hell are we doing?
Yeah, what the hell are we doing? Pitch black still. I had to go kind of down quite a steep hill, through my neighbour's place, up the hill and left through the village and get to the meet. And he honestly was seeing monsters everywhere in the shadows and was like spinning around, trying to gallop back. And I was like, oh God, I'm not even going to make it to the meet. But luckily he's a kind of a gentle, he's like Paul Webber, but I would quite like an old gold horse next time because they have so many nice horses that retire from racing and often go into hunting, team chasing, and it's actually they put a big emphasis on making sure that their horses have a great career post-retirement. So you'll see a lot of them in the team chasing ranks or generally on the hunting.
I know we've
got a team chase coming up. Did you realise?
No.
Yeah. We've got an old gold team chasing event.
When?
Yeah, and you're involved. You're on the team.
Am I?
I think you are, yeah. So
God. This is live invite.
What is it, the Sunday after a new market day, the 12th or something?
Oh God, I'm gonna have to get geared up for that.
Yeah, are you ready?
No.
And we're riding all got old gold racing horses.
What, do I have to ride an old gold horse or can I ride one of my own?
No, the whole lot is old gold, team old gold.
Oh no,
you're now on the kind of periphery of team old gold. We've gradually kind of invited
no, I won't like that. I've said to you before, I'm so wussy. No, I'm gonna do more on him, all right, but I'm just gearing up for it. Also, actually, on this note, so many of you listeners out there will have been following my riding out journey because I've been documenting it a little bit. We've talked about it a lot. Started riding out, and this actually ties in. We got a question in from somebody, I think it was like Becca on Insta or Becca's Gram, I think. I can't remember now. But anyway, you said to us that you wanted to get back into riding and you were kind of 33 and you didn't know how to do it. Well, ties in with when we were filming at York. Do you remember? Mm-hmm. We put a shout out there for anybody who wanted maybe to get involved with riding out or in a racehorse yard, but found the whole thing a bit intimidating. Get in touch with us and we might be able to kind of like somehow link you up with a less intimidating trainer was basically the sort of angle. Limited take up on that suggestion, but I don't think we explained it very well. So I've explained it better this time around. Yeah, funny that. Anyway, Lawny Hill got in contact with me. And she rang me the other day. She said, I listened to the podcast. She said, I thought you think we're great, which is Thank you very much.
Okay.
And I wonder if other people just don't mention those compliments, whereas I have to like re-mention them to get them in. Anyway,
praise is no praise.
that's what my mother would say.
Carry on.
Anyway, basically she said, I loved what you were thinking of trying to do, as in trying to open up the doors to actual yards a little bit more.
Yeah.
And she said, if you have anyone that wants to come and ride out, we have a load of nice rides, a load of nice sort of novice rider type rides. And they were putting themselves forward as a yard that we could maybe put someone into.
Where are they based?
They're based in Oxfordshire, so they're not that far away from me. And so actually in the discussion, what we were saying is like, if somebody messaged me and said, I want to learn to ride out, how will you help me? I would go with them for a day for a bit of fun down to Lawney Hills.
Well, you're an old pro now.
Well, now I'm a fully fledged jockey. I mean, I'm flat out. Honestly, the other day, actually, sorry, with the riding out thing, obviously we've got this joke that I'm like the policeman, like I'm so erect.
Yeah. That word coming up a lot today.
Yeah, it is. Sorry.
Upright.
Sorry. Upright. I'm just so upright. And obviously I'm supposed to be more like this, but actually I'm like this. Anyway, the other day I was cantering around. I was thinking to myself, I've really got the hang of this now. You know, I'm really feeling so much more secure. And then I looked at my shadow and I'm still like a policeman. But I swear to God, I've probably gone from here to like here. Yeah. But in my head, I was fully fledged.
You need to feel like you're really sticking your ass out. And your head's...
I know, I haven't got it, but I'm getting there, just incrementally coming down.
Okay, and Lawney Hill, isn't that where Victoria Pendleton
Yeah, so that's what she was saying. Also, so Victoria Pendleton did her training there, really cool for the Cheltenham race, for the Cheltenham Fox Hunters, which actually, when you think about it, it's bloody amazing that she did that. But anyway, they also had someone riding out who didn't have an arm.
Wow.
An amputee. Yeah.
Wow.
So they had to obviously like make sure he was on horses that he could ride with one hand.
Wow.
And a prosthetic, is that what it's called?
Yeah. Amazing.
How cool is that?
Yeah.
So they'd be well known for being a yard to go to, in fairness. Okay. But anyway, she's put herself forward. If you want to come ride out in a yard, let us know. We might come and, I don't know, film it. Who knows? But we'll have a bit of fun with it. And the whole point being that if you go in with someone like me, it's like we could all just take a breath and tack up slowly and not have to be legged up and use a normal mounting block
and get someone to hold the horse still.
And then you'll get a buzz out of it and you'll realise it's not as intimidating as you originally thought it was.
Yeah.
So that was that. So thanks, Lawney.
Better behaved than
oh my God. Sorry, if my mum comes down to ride, bearing in mind she's in her 70s, if she came down to ride one of my two now, I'd put her on Cap de Matan over my cob. 100%.
Yeah. They're less spoiled often as well, aren't they? They've had education.
Yeah, I actually, a friend of mine messaged me being like, you know, don't fuck up that nice horse you've got because, you know, like it's well trained, it's well brought up, it's like, it's a gentleman, but she knows full well that I just let them walk all over me quite literally. And we want to just keep them on the straight and narrow.
Okay. Right. So that aside, what racing chat have we got to look at? Well, the Arc's coming up. The Arc's coming up for the weekend.
Can't believe it.
End of year already.
Do you ever go to Paris?
I have been quite a few times to Paris-Longchamp for the Arc de Triomphe, but I haven't been for the last few years. Because
accents on these shows
are
going downhill.
They're going downhill.
Well, the American one was almost racially offensive in the last episode, and that one was bad.
Well, short story, I'm not going to Paris-Longchamp because we cover it on ITV, but from a studio at Ascot.
Yeah, what's all that about? Cheapskates.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
I did actually petition to go this year. I was like, look, really want to go to the Arc. It's on the main channel this year. We're on a slightly later time, covering some better races. I speak French. I look good. I think I just need to be at the Arc.
Was that your pitch?
Yeah.
And?
No. No, we'll send Ollie Bell. Right, okay, fine. My theory is because they've
Ollie Bell doesn't speak a word of French either.
Not a word.
Like terribly British out there.
And they need me, I'm telling myself that they need me in the studio because it's Ed Chamberlain, Johnny Murtagh, and me. And considering Johnny Murtagh's research consists of like getting the kind of tipping column out of the Racing Post and paying attention only to the main race of the day, I think I'm going to be needed.
You'll be carrying a good ship, is what you're saying. You're carrying good ITV Racing
absolute
ship.
Murder because he is so like charming and personable with his lovely and tells lovely stories that he just does no work. But
I think with those like ex-jockeys or trainers, that sort of type of mould of person, they they've got all the tails. So as soon as they run out of something to say about the race, you're right, they can just go into the time they rode in it or whatever. But also, even post-race, you know, they can lean on riding tactics so much more because that's what their area of expertise. Yeah. So I do always feel like those are the sort of characters that have to do the least amount of research, basically. In terms of form study, actual form study would go straight over their head.
So he's good for a big day like that. Because he's obviously been there and he's done it. And
so you'll be in a stiff little studio.
Yeah.
Are you
going?
No. I'm. I've been a few times. Had a good few days in Paris. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, French accent.
Yeah, sorry, that was as well.
Go on.
No, I just...
Been for work or been for fun?
So what's quite interesting is I've gone a couple of times with, well, a couple of different groups of people actually, but there's a bit of an Irish set that love going out there. And a couple of them are just absolutely obsessed with all things Paris and Longchamp, and they just love it. And they love the French racing. And I am not going to lie, I haven't quite got it. Like, I haven't quite clicked with the Arc, if you get me. Probably not been enough, but also haven't quite clicked with Paris.
Okay.
As a city.
Why?
Just, I don't know, maybe just went to the wrong places, and I don't know. I always feel, I think I've said to you before, I struggle with a language barrier. Obviously, my thing is talking and communication and being funny.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed already. That's
Sorry, that's what it is.
That's my
That's your thing.
And so obviously when you take that away from me, I feel a bit lost.
Yeah. But don't you hang out with your Irish team?
Well, you obviously trade on your looks, so you're fine.
No, sorry. I'm fine in Paris because I speak 4 languages, including French fluently. So, I mean, that's fine.
So you're fine in Paris because you look like that, you can talk the language, whereas I look like this and I can't speak the language. So I'm fucked.
And they obviously don't help you out at all.
No.
French. No.
I told you I'm the only person to go for a week in Deauville and lose 7 pounds because I couldn't communicate to buy food.
Croissant? I mean, surely baguette.
Well, I just hate being that British person that's like, baguette.
Whatever you use in English. So you didn't dare go into the patisserie because you
no,
didn't want to say,
they're just terrified. And also they view that as so rude, and so then I just didn't know what to say, and then I hate being the person just pointing at the menu, so I can't be that. So then I just didn't eat. So I lost loads of weight, so that was great. Anyway, as a result, Paris has never quite been for me, and so I've sort of always struggled with it. But I did go to the Olympics last year, and then I got on a bit better with it because I think they were a bit more open to foreigners.
Right.
Because obviously it was the Olympics. And so we were all there just trying to like blunder our way through baguette. Do you know my friend on the topic of on the topic of baguettes, right? This is just a side note. But my friend gave what's that syndrome that you get? Bell's palsy. Mm-hmm. So my friend gave her husband Bell's palsy because she lost her rag with him so much that she hit him over the head with a stale baguette.
What is Bell's palsy?
It's where like part of your face falls.
What?
Yeah. And he got Bell's palsy because she was so irate with him. She picked up this baguette. She didn't realise it was stale, cracked him over the head with it, and it gave him Bell's palsy.
No.
Yep. Facts.
Jeez. So baguettes, you want to watch out. But surely in your trips to Paris, even though you haven't really got on with it that well, you must have had a fun kind of.
Oh, I had one. You just want a drunk tale. I don't really have a drunk tale per se,
They're
but
a bit more refined in Paris than Doncaster. No,
they are.
No slippery poles involved.
Quite exactly. They are a bit more refined. I did end up going to this super bougie restaurant which everyone was talking about beforehand, about it being such wonderful food and everything, but I just remember being so drunk because of not so drunk, but as in pretty drunk, because I've been at the races all day drinking champagne. And I've had such a great time at the races that we then went out, that I remember sitting at this table thinking this food is probably good, but I have lost the ability to tell. Do you know what I mean? Like, we're too far past the point of telling. Went out that night, had a great night, actually stayed in like a pretty rough area of town. Again, because I didn't know the areas of the city. Do you see what I mean? So then ended up staying somewhere that wasn't seen as a classy establishment. But anyway, we are what we are. Okay.
My favourite memory from Paris actually was nothing to do with racing. Well, kind of ish, but not really anything to do with racing. I went to a Giorgio Armani catwalk show.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Of course
you did. Reminded me because he died the other day.
He did. He popped his clogs.
Yeah. Well, Giorgio. I'm not sure how you say popped his clogs in Italian, but you know, he's no longer with us. And I've got a picture of me and Giorgio on the.
Did he give you any nice clothes?
Yeah, he did actually. Because there's a bit of a history background because my grandmother was Italian. She lived in Milan. She basically only ever wore super amazing luxury clothes. A lot of it was Giorgio Armani. Oh. So we were kind of brought up a bit like in that, not in that world, but like she'd take us shopping and buy us little gorgeous things from Armani. I still got a trouser suit from Armani that I got when I was 15 that I still wear. It's stunning.
You still fit into.
Yeah, I do actually.
Good effort.
Thanks. And actually, when I was in Australia, I became quite close with the lady that basically was in charge of Armani over there, and she would kind of dress me for things and invite me to things. And then she invited me to the runway show in Paris, and it was amazing. They put us up in this stunning hotel. A friend of mine came with me as well, called Lindy Morris, who was over from Australia. And I was like, "Oh, Lindy, I've been invited to this thing. I can take a guest. Do you want to come?" She was like, "Yeah, sure, sounds fun." And we got there, and it was so funny because it was like super high end. We got like hair and makeup and dressed for the event, and then we got out the chauffeur-driven cars. It was like paparazzi everywhere. Yeah. Lindy thought we got out at a tube station because there were that many people, but they were all there for the show.
Tube station.
And yeah, I kind of sat in the front row and watched it all and met Giorgio, and then went to a private dinner with a whole load of celebs. It was amazing.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
that is cool. Bougie.
Oh, that's quite cool. Back in my past life. Anyway, still got a few amazing Armani outfits from that weekend.
Nice. That's nice. In terms of the race itself, by the way, so I'm not going this year to the Arc de Triomphe because that's where we started this whole conversation, just so you know. Not going to the race or the meeting itself. Actually, Sophie Buckley of Culworth Grounds fame is going. She's very much looking forward to it. Probably not a vintage renewal of the Arc itself.
Not, right?
But I was thinking about vintage renewals and the Arc's gone by in the past and sort of like battles and whatnot. Not so much battles, but horses that have won it. But I actually really got one of the things that really hooked me into flat racing. So I was always a jumps racing fan through and through. And then one of the things that hooked me into flat racing was See the Stars. I just love that kind of unbeaten 3-year-old campaign and a group one every month, you know, from the Guineas all the way to the Arc, obviously. I just loved everything about See the Stars. And I was a real See the Stars fangirl, actually. Have I told you this story before?
We've understood that bit. Can you move on?
Sorry. But the point being that when he won the Arc de Triomphe, I remember thinking, that's what flat racing's about.
Yeah.
I just loved it.
Yeah,
it was great. And that really got me hooked on flat racing as well as the jumps.
Yeah, I suppose we haven't had that kind of dominant presence so far this year.
But then since then, we've obviously had Trev winning it a load of times. And I love that. I love that sort of... Enable was great. Obviously, the mares and then the 3-year-old mares getting the allowance is such a big sort of factor in it. But this year, I just don't really think it's a vintage one. Some people love like the Golden Horn, you know, the ride that
that was
Frankie
good.
Gave it.
That was good from a white draw.
Yeah,
I thought that was good.
Yeah,
that one. But this year, Aventure is probably a worthy favourite, being the winner of the Vermeil. Well, really disappointed in that race when she was favourite. Minnie Hawk is going there. She hasn't had one of the kind of traditional preps on Arc Trials Day, but she looks like a lovely, big, strong, strapping 3-year-old filly. Should handle the ground. Has got that 3-year-old filly profile. I really like her. I thought the Japanese horse was impressive winning his trial, Byzantine Dream, something like that.
Yeah.
But will the ground be in his favour? The Japanese horses, we know, much prefer firmer conditions. So yeah, it feels like it's all to play for a bit.
Wide open, yeah. Well, it doesn't mean it's going to be a bad race there, but you know, it just doesn't feel like a vintage absolute standout type of situation. But it's all the other group ones on the days.
Yeah, there's so many.
There's just so many all the way through. The Abbey has obviously had good British winners in the past as well. And so it's a race day that I actually genuinely really love.
Yeah, it's a great race day.
We are thrilled to have Culworth Racing sponsoring Season 3 of Running Loose.
They're one of the UK's leading racehorse syndicates, making ownership fun and affordable, with shares starting from just £60.
As an owner, you'll get weekly updates on your horse, the chance to win race day tickets, and invitations to stable visits.
And Old Gold have horses in training all over the UK and in Ireland as well now, with none other than Henry de Bromhead.
Head over to allgoldracing.com to find out more. And as a special offer to Running Loose listeners, enter the code RL15 for 15% off your first share.
Plus, anyone who redeems that discount code will automatically go into a draw to win a magnificent bundle of 10 horse shares, and that's a brilliant way to get involved.
And at that same time, we mentioned it briefly in the last pod, that's the same weekend, isn't it, that people start looking at Tattersalls at Book 1 for the creme de la creme of the yearlings that are going through the sales that year. So Book 1 at Tattersalls is basically considered to be the kind of elite group of horses that goes through the sale, isn't
Oh,
it?
100%. Yeah. I mean, the European yearling market, book one, obviously Goffs have their sort of major sale, their yearling sale.
Deauville have
theirs, but book one, I think it's fair to say. I'm not like...
Yeah, I think it is.
I think that is fair to say.
I think it is. So to get into book one as a yearling, you have to be basically very well bred, very good looking, and very correct with very good X-rays, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, you like most of the book one yearlings are by the very top end sires, and most of them are either out of a Group 1 performing mare or from a Group 1 performing family, really.
Or siblings too.
Or siblings too, yeah. So it really is the creme de la creme, and book one is amazing. When you walk around Tattersalls during book one, you just see some of the richest families and people in the world, literally, just in their sort of jeans and trainers, stood out often under an umbrella or with a waterproof jacket on, looking at horse flesh. I mean, it's kind of mad. I actually, on that note, I used to present and produce that show, the Bloodstock Show on Sky. And we used to obviously look behind the scenes at all things to do with bloodstock and horse racing. And one year I took a cameraman to Tattersalls to film during book one, obvious place for the Bloodstock Show to go. But back then at Sky, you used to use a pool of cameramen that worked on all different Sky channels. So a lot of them just did like football or tennis or whatever. Anyway, had this cameraman, met him in Newmarket, and you literally just walk off Newmarket High Street and you're into Tattersalls. And he came in during the sale and I sent him off to get some shots, and then we met back up and he said to me, sorry, that number up there, is that pounds? And I was like, well, it's actually, it's a guinea, essentially equates to a pound. So he's like, but I've just seen a load of horses go through the ring for like 100,000, 150,000, 200, and that's just like mediocre at book one. And I was like, yeah. And he said, and how long does this go on for? And I was like, 3 days for 6-7 hours selling a day. He's like, he just couldn't believe the money.
And that's quite low.
Yeah, exactly. And he was just like, he literally said to me, I'm just gonna have to sit down for a minute. And I remember being like, yeah. And we become so immune to the money that's being thrown around. We just become so blasé about it. But when you get someone in from a totally different sport, totally different area, and they walk in off a high street in Newmarket and see people dropping houses every 5 minutes, let's say a horse goes through the ring, on horse flesh that could literally just, God forbid, break a leg when in the field a week later.
Be no good.
Or just be no good. It is actually wild when you think about it.
It is.
But we just have become, it goes straight over our heads.
It is.
Especially someone like you who's been, I don't mean in a bad way, I just mean like, because you've been brought up in the game.
Yeah. But it's so important for people selling their horses. Like, they are taking their absolute kind of pinnacle of what they produce to the sale that day. And often people will be relying on maybe one or two horses of the best of their group. Like even Sophie here, for example, she might have, 20 yearlings to sell across book 1, 2, 3 and 4 in that period. But she knows the lesser ones are going to not particularly make much money, whereas they will have one or two that they know are their best horses, and they'll be relying on them to really make up the numbers in terms of how much they can spend on their nominations next year, and
totally make or break their year. Yeah, exactly. If you have a couple of those that just make like proper money and it covers all the rest, and then like you say on top of that, you're like, okay, now my pool for my stallions next year is bigger, and you start building. If it goes the opposite way, negative effect.
Yeah, and because for every really nice one you have that's really well bred and comes out all good, you might equally have one that has come out a bit small or a bit not what you were expecting, and you've spent 150 grand, 200 grand on the nomination, and you don't recoup that. But interestingly though, if you were, so say you were listening to us and you were like, okay, well, this racing lark sounds quite fun. How do I get involved?
We are really fun.
How do I get involved? Okay, so an obvious way is to kind of go through a syndication company, because it's cheap and they kind of very much take you along for the ride, and it's easy to get involved, etc. Funny enough, when I just googled how do I buy a racehorse, the first thing that came up was an advert for Old Gold. So that's good. Our sponsors. And Old Gold is definitely somewhere I'd recommend you go to get involved with ownership. But if you say had quite deep pockets and you thought, I want to go and buy my own racehorse, like, could you literally just walk off the street into the sales at Tattersalls and go, right, I want that one?
So not quite, but nearly. So you'd walk off the street at Tattersalls, into Tattersalls, and you'd go to the bloodstock desk, and I think you have to register as a buyer, obviously, and go through all of that process. But then once you've registered as a buyer, you can literally then go 5 strides across the courtyard into the sales ring and keep putting your hand up until you've bid on the horse. And then a woman comes over and you sign on a dotted line and voila.
You've got a horse.
Yeah. It's as simple as that, really.
But then not many people would do that.
No.
They find it quite prohibitive. So
yeah,
if you were to recommend someone, what are the right channels? Would you try and find a trainer first? Would you go and find a bloodstock agent? Would you go and register with Weatherby's? Would you go and find a set of colours?
I personally, if it was me, I would send somebody off to a trainer. I would say, go find a trainer that you like the look of, whether it be, some people want to have a horse with a trainer to have a good time. Mm-hmm. And I know loads of good time trainers. They can train winners. All these people can train winners. But if you want a good time, I'd have a list of horses. If you want to trade horses, so, buy something, try get it to win a race, sell it to a foreign country or to somebody else, I'd have a separate list of trainers for that sort of thing. If you want to back horses and have more fun in the gambling sphere, I'd have a list of trainers for that sort of thing as well. Do you see what I mean?
Or even geographically, like if you're based
geographically,
you want a new
also the type of horse you want to buy. If you want a 2-year-old for a 9-month period, let's say, and then to sell it at the end of its 2-year-old career. If you just want that sort of more fast, precocious type, I've got a list.
But so you know all this stuff, but it's quite prohibitive, isn't it, for someone coming from the outside, because they don't
really
know all this level.
So I would say find a trainer, and you can do that by, like you say,
Google.
Yeah, well, on the BHA website, you've got a list of trains and you can look at a map.
Okay.
So that you can pinpoint if you want to go to, obviously, a yard that, if you want to be associated with a yard that's nearer your house, for example. So that would be the first starting point. Then you'd call the trainer and you get through to a lady or man in an office. And you'd be like, I want to buy a racehorse. Where do I start? And then they would, take you on the journey, and they would help you, register with Weatherby's as an owner, etc., etc. I would imagine. I've never owned a racehorse. That personally is the way I would go through it. There'll be some people listening being like, rubbish, Vanessa. You want to start by going to a good bloodstock agent, and then it would be the opposite way around. So the agent would say, what sort of horse do you want to buy? And would try and source you the horse. And then most agents have strong links with certain yards. So the agent might say, look, I think you'll get on really well at James Ferguson. Here's the introduction. Off you go with James. And you get looked after that way. Yeah. So there's different ways in, but essentially you're always going to end up with a trainer. So I would go to the trainer.
And a lot of people don't know that the owners, the colours that you see on the racetrack belong to the owners.
Yeah.
Not the jockeys, not the trainers, but the owners. And to go about getting a set of colours, you can either register like a new set that you kind of make up yourself, or there's some antique ones that you can buy,
really expensive ones,
colours that are really really expensive.
And then there are those garish new ones.
Are there?
The sort of like new design ones. Oh no.
I like this dartboard colour.
Oh, I was just about to say, I hate the dartboard. I hate the dartboard. Oh, no.
Okay, so you're more of a traditionalist.
Oh, yeah. If I could. So it's interesting because basically the most expensive colours, other than the famous colours, if you take them away, the expensive colours are the least patterns and basically block colouring.
Yeah.
So that's what you have to pay the most for, which it kind of doesn't make sense.
What colour would you go?
Oh, well, I'd just go like, I tell you what I would love. And I think Michael Owen's colours, that lovely, really light sort of greeny blue and then a navy blue hat.
Oh,
that really good.
The Chase Moore colours.
Oh, is that them? No, that really good stare of Michael Owen's used to run in them.
Oh, yes.
A brown panther.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know those colours?
Yeah.
Do you know the ones I'm talking about?
Is that Andrew Black?
Is that right? I don't know.
I think so.
Sorry, it might be him. Those colours I really like.
Yeah, they're very classy.
Yeah.
Very classy.
But it's one block colour body, one block colour hat. Whereas you're there with like sort of 14 colours and a fucking dartboard.
Yeah, I'm going to go like American vibe.
Yeah, no, horrendous.
No, actually my family colours are very classic. My dad's
colours were... Fitter's third colours.
Black with a brown crossbelt and a brown hat. Very kind of classic. And then the Fittocks are beige body, lightish blue arms and light blue hat.
Yeah, they're nice. I like them. That's a classy look. Yeah. That's what I would do colour wise. Yeah.
They bred Arizona Blaze, who won the Flying Five Group 1 at the Curragh last weekend.
No way. I did not know.
Well, I say they bred him, raised and grazed and sold through Fittock Stud, but actually the mare was owned by my godfather, Andrew Bengoff, who is the luckiest man in racing. Every horse he touches seems to just absolutely fly.
Your godfather, nice.
Yeah, he's quite a character. Now, you'll have heard us talking in our last episode about our association with First Racing, who are helping us to kind of spread the word about American racing and increase the awareness. Now, there's another big meeting going on over in Kentucky. It's a Keeneland, Kentucky opening meet, and it's another big weekend where there's a lot of focus on winning your own races for the Breeders' Cup.
Yes. So I just had a quick look, actually. It's amazing that obviously the prize money up for grabs out there is just wild. It's obviously over a good few days, and they've got quite a lot of grade ones. And as you say, they're like winning your ins for the Breeders' Cup. Pretty self-explanatory, really. But for example, one of their good races quite early on is that Coolmore Mile race, which is obviously over the mile. It's on the turf, and that's a win in your in for the Breeders' Cup. And so last year, actually a horse that we're quite familiar with, Carl Spackler won it last year for Chad Brown, when trained by Chad Brown. And then he's obviously gone on his trip. He's sort of gone down under now, hasn't he? But he came through Europe.
I actually think he's staying in England.
Oh, is he?
Did I not hear that he was going to Goldens?
Oh.
He was meant to be heading to Australia. He was trained technically by Kieran Marr while he was racing in England, like in the Can and other races. But I think I heard he's staying in England.
Yeah. So
anyway,
that's...
normally it goes to the way of the Europeans, so the mile, right? The mile and the turf.
So, for example,
on the turf tend to go on.
Yeah, so that's a win and you're in for the Breeders' Cup. Whatever wins there will have to go to Del Mar to meet the likes of, you would think, Notable Speech, who's just won the Woodbine Mile.
Rosalia?
Again, probably Rosalia, the most unlucky horse this year. It's breaking my heart.
Me too.
If Rosalian's team and Rosalian rounds off being second and third, well, second in all those Group 1 races, and then he rounds off winning the Breeders' Cup Mile, there is a God. Do you know what I mean?
It would be just, wouldn't it?
Oh, God, he's breaking my heart. And then sometimes I'm like, look, he's just not good enough. So that's why he's not winning. But
I think he's just been unlucky.
He's just been so unlucky. He's been so unlucky. And imagine if you're Sean Levy on top of him, you're just like, how does this keep happening?
I know.
Anyway, hopefully they'll be able to twist the owner's arms and get him over for the Breeders' Cup. I would love that. But Notable Speech will be in there. There'll be a good few. Coolmore will obviously have a couple of horses in there as well. And they'll have to meet the likes, the American mile turf horses. And naturally, they're just not normally at the same
A lot of them are bred over here. So a lot of the American buyers come over here to buy better bred turf horses. Actually, my parents sell a lot to there.
So like the horse, so obviously we'll cover it when it's been and gone and we know the results, but a load of those horses will be bouncing onto the Breeders' Cup. It's really cool.
And the Breeders' Cup turf is around over 1.5 miles, and it's often a race that the Europeans are stronger in as well. Looking forward to hopefully seeing Ombudsman there. Wouldn't that be great?
Would be great. Bit weird of a weird one, because obviously they decided not to take him to the Irish Champion Stakes, announcing that they thought that the home straight at Leopardstown was quite short, and he is gonna, if he does go to the Breeders' Cup turf, will have to run round the shortest home straight in the history of horse racing.
Yeah, but it's 1.5 miles. It's not 1.25.
Yeah, but still, like, it's a poor excuse.
Well, that was a bit of
smoke and mirrors going on, wasn't it? But yeah, you'd meet Ombudsman. Calandagan's going somewhere else. Japan.
Oh,
isn't he?
Goliath.
And also, oh my God, the
Rebels
obvious
Romance.
one, Rebels Romance, absolutely. And that other good horse of Godolphin as well, begins with C.
El Cordobés?
Well done.
Begins with E, but,
Fuck off.
What language is that?
I was getting there.
That was good for me, actually, to pick.
Begins with C.
Yeah.
Okay, great. But anyway, the point being that'll be a cracker of a race. That's always a good race, and always very like Team Europe in that. Going back to the Keeneland meet, the sort of win in your in races will give us a much more. We'll actually have, very shortly, we will have a much better feel for the Breeders' Cup races than we currently do right now.
Yeah, there's a lot to play out.
Yeah.
And you'll be keeping a close eye on it because you are going to the Breeders' Cup. You're working there. I'll be in Melbourne, but I'll be keeping an eye across all of that as well. It's always a really early start for me. I'm there kind of the morning after a big day of Australian racing, trying to pay attention to the American stuff half-heartedly. Right, what we haven't done yet is Vanessa's weekly instalment of All Riled Up, and it's ironic, isn't it, because you're actually so laid back, but come on, there must be something that's annoyed you.
I'll tell you what's put me off today
Go.
is that somebody banged into my car in the middle of the night on the street, and then as a result it got taken away for the menders, the garage, and then they're supposed to deliver it back, but now they've told me that I have to drive an hour to go collect it and drop my hire car off, and it's super stressing me out.
Oh, wait, why's that gone?
Hello?
No, still got 15 seconds.
The point being that I just don't like it when companies don't deliver a service they said that they would. And I realise that makes me sound like a brat, but it is kind of annoying.
Right.
It's a week riled up, isn't it?
A little bit weak. But hey.
I don't know. Okay, between now and between now and we next record, I'm going to get more annoyed about something.
Okay, fine.
A lot of the time, my friends, all joking aside.
Vanessa. Just,
all joking aside, last point, my friend Sarah Rose, she's a great friend of mine, and she gets like really, she's passionate, like she gets quite irate about things, so she'd be great for this role. But she often says to me, Vanessa, be more annoyed about that. Like, you've got to be more annoyed about that. But I'm just like, the world keeps turning.
It's a good way to be. I think it's a good way to be. We didn't really get many good questions in, did we?
Well, I mentioned that girl who wanted to get into race riding.
That's true. Okay, so we've covered that a little bit. But please do keep sending us your questions. We always need like fun, different topics to cover. And
stop banging on about her short hair. Somebody keeps sending in the same question. Is Jessica going to keep her hair short? A, who gives a fuck? And B, it'll be dependent on her collagen.
Whether I can actually grow it any longer.
Do you know what I mean?
That's
like, so stop asking.
Me, though. I mean, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery, isn't it?
Facts.
Right.
Yeah.
Good. And on that note, I think that's just about it for episode 6 of this series of Running Loose. What do we have to say? Joy, follow us on...
Here we go. Follow us on Instagram.
Each. Vanessa Rowell, Francesca.
But crucially, you need to be following Running Loose. You also need to subscribe on YouTube, and you need to follow us on all your podcast platforms. So Apple and Spotify, please.
And give us a review.
Leave us a review. God, we've asked a lot. That's it.
Yeah.
Do all of that.
All of that. Please. It all helps so much. And we look forward to seeing you next time.